Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions, and welcome to our Sunday Stock Talk. What a absolute wild week it has been. So happy to have you guys here. So happy to prep for what this week has to offer. There's a lot to talk about. Not just I've been trolling so hard when it comes down to like the whole BTC thing, but there's actually a lot to talk about of just the general market. We do have an up and coming CPI data report, which is super important if you're just trying to get into the market. It's an economic report that is one of the most major economic reports on a monthly basis. Pretty much just tells us if inflation is going up or down. So we'll talk a little bit about that, how you can kind of prepare and just pay attention to it. The biggest thing is if you're kind of new to the market, sit back, relax. A lot of this stuff might sound very complicated, but just kind of like your iPhone. Oh, my light in the back just turned off. Nice. Kind of just like your iPhone. In the very beginning, it might seem overwhelming because of all the capabilities that your iPhone might have. But at the end of it, when it comes down to wanting to make a call, you know how to make a call, right? When it comes down to wanting to send a text, you know exactly what application to use and what features to implement. The stock market and obviously this platform, when you look at this, I just know that we have a lot of beginners that are tuning on in. So I know when you guys see this, you're going to be like, oh, dude, what the heck? Like, it looks like I'm looking at like if someone is like on live support, what is this that I'm looking at? What is all of this? What is all of this? Guys, it might look overwhelming right now, but I can reassure you that as you take time, as you become a little bit more familiar with, what this is and what is this over here, it's sometimes I'm not even looking at this. I'm looking more at like the time in sales. I might be just looking at price action. I'm not looking at all of this all at the same time. So I just want to remind you that if you're just getting into this, it is going to be a process. It's not something that you're just going to learn overnight, at least not for me, right? It takes time, but I really do enjoy it. I enjoy what I do here every single day. I go live with my LPP team every single day. And if you ever want to tune on in, it's the second link in the description down below. If not, just subscribe to the channel. And we have a bunch of free videos. We have 2,000 free videos. And yeah, would be happy to be a part of your trading journey. So how are we doing today? Let me ask you guys, have you guys been enjoying my MSTR memes? No? I've been getting, some people think it's hilarious, and I know for a fact other people do not. I've been enjoying it too much. Oh, yeah, and you can see in the live chat, there's going to be a handful of people that either love it or they hate it. But hey, guess what? It's a time to pay attention, right? It's a time to pay attention to the market. I think very crucial things are going to be happening in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We have a new president that's coming into office. That's something that, a lot of people are anticipating that when he gets into office, markets are going higher. When he gets into office, Bitcoin is going to skyrocket. When he gets into office, everything is going to be fixed. Don't get me wrong. I didn't vote for the other guy, right? But my question is this a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, right? All of this got factored in already, right? Markets originally jumped. If you pay attention to the NASDAQ market, QQQ, when the idea of Trump getting elected or him really winning began to really take fruition, right? Markets skyrocketed. They rallied. And it's unfortunate because remember, the stock market often gets ahead of itself. So is this a buy the rumor to sell the news kind of thing, right? I just think that there's a lot to talk about. We obviously can't predict the future. There's no reason to try to pretend that we can, but we can always prepare for it, right? Hey, if markets continue to go up, what can we take advantage of, right? This is plan A. If markets begin to go down, you don't need to freak out, right? A lot of people like to freak out when markets pull back. There's so much money to be made when markets do pull back. You don't have to short the market. Sometimes you can just stay light on your positions. And if markets do pull on back, that should excite you because at least you get to buy them back at a lower level if you're just more of a value investor or a swing trader, right? You buy good quality companies as they retrace and correct themselves, and you're able to take advantage of the recovery. So there's so much money to be made. There's so much lessons to learn in this market full of chaos that, I feel like if you just at least approach it with that tone, right, and that intention of, hey, I'm not going to have it all figured out. I'm not going to get everything right, this year, but I just want to do better than what I did last year, right? And if you highlight, and this is one thing that I always recommend for are beginners. We always talk about this to our LPP traders is, it's progress, not perfection, right? You need to make sure that you do your part and not thinking that, okay, this week I'm not going to mess up at all. No, mistakes are inevitable in this market, right? Our job as traders and investors are not to avoid risk. It's simply to manage it. So what can we do this week that would make you a better trader or investor than last week? And I think you can highlight, what mistakes did you make last week? Did you bag hold a stock? Did you not manage risk appropriately? Did you not stick to your trade plan? A mistake that, again, I made very early on was I turned a day trade into a swing trade, right? Because the trade didn't go according to plan and you don't want to waste one of your day trades if you're under the PDT rule. These are all mistakes we all make. Why do we pretend that we don't make them, right? Or why do we pretend like they don't exist? And I think that's why so many of you guys have resonated so well with a lot of the content that we make is because I trade live every morning. You get to see all of my shitty trades. You get to see all of my great trades, but you get to see it happen, right? You see that I'm human. You see that I make mistakes. My trades, if you're part of my LPP team, ask them. My trades are never perfect. How many times? Hey, let me ask you this. For people that are part of LPP and that are tuning on in right now, out of 10 times, how many times do I often take profits early? Out of 10 times, I would say 9 times I take profits early. I like more often than not, I cover my profit. It's like a joke. It's an inside joke. But I kind of like, yeah, you see, they're saying 9, 10, 8, 10, a billion out of 10. And it's funny. And I like using myself as an example because I can laugh at it, right? But I want to be an example that you don't need to be perfect or anywhere close to being perfect with every trade you take to be green. My trades on Friday, right? My LPP team got to see me take it live. And within Friday's live trading session, when I shorted MSTR, I made $6,300. My trade was not perfect, and I still ended green. You don't need to be a perfect trader to make money in this market. You just need to have a plan, you need to have intention, and you need to not be greedy, right? Know where to manage your risk. Know where to cut your losses, but also know when to take profits. If all you ever do, again, it's this whole wave of like these Reddit traders is what I like to call them. I don't know how to label all of these people, these crypto bros, I don't know what we want to call them. It's so unfortunate. If you think percent-wise, they made so much money within such a short period of time. Bitcoin has skyrocketed, right? And they're still holding. They're so greedy. They're like, oh, maybe when it hits 120K. And this is where Reddit apes. This is the one example that I want to give you, right? And I want to make a video fully dedicated to this later on. You guys know that I've been shitting on Bitcoin. I don't. Have you guys been able to catch that? Is that easy to catch through some of the videos that I make? Is that obvious? Do you know why I do it though? I do it because I'm hilarious. No. The reason that I do it is because it's very obvious now that, we've gone from such oversold levels, 20,000, whatever it was at, right? Way down here, even at 50,000, it's more than doubled in price. It's more than 100% return. For some people, 200, 300, maybe 400% return. The thing that every crypto bro continues to say is that no, people need to be buying now. People need to be buying at 95, 100,000 because this thing can go to 125K. And maybe to the average person, they might be like, oh, Ricky, that, they're right. I can make money. They are correct. It could go to 125K. If you watch any of my videos, I've never said that Bitcoin has to crash right now. If anything, I've said, hey, Bitcoin is still holding above 90,000. There is no confirmation of a crash. But it's a very specific thing that I focus on, and it's risk to reward ratios. So now let me explain to you why I don't think it's worth it, even if it does hit 125K. We're at 95, 94K. If it does hit 125K, what is that going to be? A 25 to maybe 26% return based off of current levels. That's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm fully aware that is amazing. Percent-wise, that's absolutely insane if you were to compare it to anything in the stock market. What's the downside risk? What is one thing that Bitcoin does every single time? Every single time that Bitcoin has ever rallied, it crashes. That's not an opinion. It's a fact, right? So Bitcoin crashes 82% last time. And then the previous time before that, it retraces 54%. It went back up again to highs of 69,000. And then it retraced again to lows of 15 to 16,000. It retraced 77, 75%, whatever you want to call it. Every single time it retraces 70, 75, maybe 80% based off of previous crashes. So you are telling me that, okay, you want me to buy and take advantage of an opportunity that offers 25%, but the downside risk is 80%. Don't get me wrong. Everyone has their own risk tolerance, right? But for me, risk to reward is super crucial. It's one of the few things we have to work with as traders. Why would you ever take advantage of an opportunity that the profit potential does not outweigh your downside risk? It just doesn't make sense. Opportunity cost wise, you are in a position that is positioned to potentially lose much greater than you are to gain. That is the easiest way that I could explain it on why I'm bringing so much attention about Bitcoin being overvalued. It's not that I don't believe Bitcoin can continue to push up, because that would be naive, because anything can always happen. It's simply that based off of how much it's up already, its downside risk outweighs its profit potential. And that's all what I wanted to explain. You don't need to agree with me that it's going to crash, right? Just like I don't need to agree with you that this thing has to go to $200,000 per coin because of the weather, right? We're all entitled to our own opinion, and all I have to work with truly as a trader is risk to reward ratios. And it's obvious that yes, this thing is a trendy thing. Maybe with the current administration, it can continue to rally. Let's not ignore that. I'm not like stupid, right? At least I hope not. I'm aware. Just like any pump and dump, any momentum play, a stock can continue to skyrocket. Just like BTC, if there's enough hype, enough, conviction through these Reddit crypto bros, of course, more positive news. Same thing with MSTR. It could skyrocket. That's great. But we all know one thing. The pullbacks are inevitable for crypto. Don't we? I think you can ask every crypto guru out there, right? I'm sure they'll tell you, yeah, the crashes do happen, but what do you mean, but? Crashes are 70. Dude, even if they were 50%, I don't know about you, but that's not a position that I want to tolerate. I have nothing against Bitcoin investors. Those are very different people. Their intentions and their approaches are very different. They're probably positioned at 20,000 per coin, maybe even less, 25,000, 30,000. They've made their money, right? They have the cushion to work with. It's like talking to a guy with old money. He's well positioned in his position for Bitcoin. So sure, he wants to encourage everyone. Yeah, buy Bitcoin, 95,000. We're going to the moon. Because if it does pull back, they have a cushion. People buy now, not so much, right? So MSTR earnings season. I don't think I have enough time to talk about how excited I am about MSTR's up and coming earning report. That's going to have to be its own video within itself. You remember how popular NVIDIA was when it reported earnings and the entire markets kind of stood still? That's how I want to be with MSTR. I don't even drink anymore, but I might buy a bottle of Ace just to pop it when MSTR reports its earnings, because I'm going to have way too much fun, and we all know that. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about the top five stocks that we're going to be watching this week, right? Very quickly. This upcoming week, this is for tomorrow, which is, so let's talk about the economic reports. So on Tuesday, 1 hour before the market opens, we have this is the PPI report. This is the Producer Price Index report. Not as important, right? If you're going to tune on into any of my live sessions that are free on YouTube, probably Tuesday's not as important. Wednesday is the CPI. That's the important one. That's the inflation report. CPI is the consumer. Holy. Dude, I'm having a brain fart. Yeah. Consumer Price Index report. Wow, I completely blanked. CPI report. Yeah. Inflation report month over month. It's bls.gov/CPI. You click on PDF and it populates it for you. It's going to be telling us if in the month of December, if inflation went up or down. Fortcoin. Yeah. So that's going to be on Wednesday of this week. So we'll see how that ends up turning out. And then let's see if we have anything that's too interesting. We have initial claims, continuing claims. Nothing there. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, building permits. No, I would say, in my opinion, CPI report. CPI report is going to be one of the most important things this week. And then this is going to be the last trading week before Trump gets inaugurated into office, January 20th, right? So I think 19th is the last day. 20th is when he gets inaugurated. And then MSTR has a vote that's going to be hosted on the 21st. Did you guys hear about that? Right? Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and talk about that. The first stock that I'm going to be talking about, can you guys guess what it's going to be? How do you not know what CPI is? I do know. I've made numerous videos about CPI. I had a brain fart. My bad. Sorry. I apologize. All right, here we go. MSTR. The one thing that I do want to highlight, and that's why I've made numerous videos on it, is, well, does MSTR have to continue to sell off? No, right? You guys know that I love talking my crap, especially if you're part of my LPP team. You hear me talk about it every single day, but you need to be aware that if Bitcoin does find a support at where it's at right now, which it's really not, Bitcoin's still kind of like, it's lingering here like a booger, right around 93 to 94,000, but it's not selling off. And that's the biggest thing that I want to highlight. So am I open to shorting MSTR this week? Of course, I always am, as long as price action supports it. But do you see how do you see how Bitcoin's not breaking below 93,000? It continues to bounce and bounce and bounce. If there is no progress on the downside for Bitcoin, MSTR probably won't show much progress either. It probably won't break below 310 or 300. So because of that, remember, just because I want to short the life out of MSTR doesn't mean that I need to this given week. If the opportunity does not present itself, or even better, if Bitcoin just begins to recover back up to 100,000, which is a possibility, I have to be self-aware and prepared enough to go long or just to allow MSTR to run its course. MSTR did it last week where it ran up to highs of nearly 400. But then again, all we have to do is just like every single time that Bitcoin pumps, it dumps, right? It corrects itself every single time. And this is why I made a joke about it on Instagram where I was thinking, I was like, man, I've never gotten so many questions about how to short one stock. And I was like, imagine if I create a crash course where I film myself shorting MSTR like 10 different times. I talk about different approaches. I talk about different ways that I'm shorting MSTR, but just showing the process of doing it. One stock, one setup, just overall one focus. That's short MSTR. And so many people responded to that story and they're like, I would sign up for that. I want it. Because again, we all know one thing, Bitcoin is going to crash. So, but the one thing that I do want to highlight is, of course, if Bitcoin does hold and if Bitcoin does push up, we have to let it run its course. And just so you guys can see, I have no open short on MSTR right now. So you can see my position here, MSTR. I have my one lucky share, but that's all. I have no open position as in I'm actively shorting MSTR. Like I've told you guys so many times before, I don't care to carry my shorts overnight. I understand that MSTR is an incredibly risky stock. I need to respect it. I can talk my crap. I can say what it is that I want. But at the end of it, our job as traders are to not be like those bag holders, right? To have structure with the actual trades we choose to take. And that is why it's so important to, again, put yourself in positions in which you can manage and in which you can tolerate. And if I choose to take a position on MSTR to short it, but then all of a sudden if Bitcoin begins to recover, especially knowing that MSTR is a little bit on the oversold side, then I put myself in a position to fail. And again, why would I be doing or taking steps this early on within the year that make me look like those Reddit traders? No structure, no plan, just hope, right? Just like people saying that BTC is going to 200,000 per coin. For what? How'd you come up with that? The weather, right? For what? It's let's be calculated. Let's keep our trading simple and let's do it with intention, right? If price action supports it, if direction supports it, let's not be afraid to take advantage of it. But if it doesn't, let's not be overconfident and just hope for something to happen when it's not showing signs of. So I'm super excited. MSTR is a stock that I'm paying attention to, but it is oversold enough that if it does begin to rip up, let it do its thing, become overbought. Once it begins to show signs of an overbought reversal setup, then I'll open up short. And of course, if you're part of my LPP team, you'll get to watch me trade it and short it live. So that's the first one that I'm paying attention to. Let me get a round of applause. Do you guys remember this one? How many of you guys remember this one? This one was shared to me by someone in our LPP group. They're like, hey, Ricky, look, check this out. It was actually within one of our live trading sessions. What price was it at? Do you guys remember? Remember when this thing was pumping? It went from $3. I think it was trading at $22, maybe $23. Do you guys remember it? And then I was like, oh my goodness, like it's Christmas all over again. I love overhyped up bullshit companies because it's so easy. We always know they're going to correct themselves. We started making videos on it, bringing awareness of like, hey, this might be the next setup, right? And just like clockwork, you're never going to catch the full trade, but from the highs to its overall lows, it crashed 46% already in one trading week. One trading week. Think about that. How blessed we are to be and to live in a world where there's stocks like this that pump up so much that literally all I have to do is wait. Because we all know they're going to correct themselves because they're worthless. So you let these Reddit traders pump the stock up. It's unfortunate that a lot of beginners get left holding the bag, but that's why we make the videos that we do to talk about the downside risk and to let them know like, hey, this thing is pushing up for no reason. Just be aware that it could pull back. And as long as we do our job looking out for our fellow traders that are actually trying to be intentional with their trades, my job's here to make money and bounce, right? And boy, has it been fun. Seeing all of our LPP traders short the life out of SOUN, and they're like, that was so easy. It's easy because you're putting yourself in a position to succeed. It's hard when you're trading against the trend, right? It's hard when you put yourself in hopeful positions that show no conviction, that show no intention. But this was easy. It was an overbought stock that was hyped up. Once volume began to die and price action began to curl over, once we waited for that confirmation, the rest just followed, right? What goes up must come down. GameStop, SMCI, MSTR, SOUN. The same BS all over again, right? Bada bing, bada boom. Make your money and bounce. You don't need to do anything for anyone. You're here for one reason. We're all here for one reason. Let's not pretend. It's to make money. Obviously, if you're just getting started, you're learning, right? And that doesn't mean that you're going to be making money as you learn. But nonetheless, you understand what I'm saying. The intention should be to grow your account, to make money, to learn from your mistakes. So very excited. I want to see where SOUN goes because it is at a previous support range where we consolidated. So we'll see if we begin to see a retest and a possible jump back up to try to recover and see if it forms a lower high or if it just breaks through that support and continues to sell off. Nonetheless, again, it's going to be something that I'm paying attention to because even if it does recover, it will most likely form a lower high. I'll wait for the lower high, add to my short, and begin to short it on the way down. That's all. That's all I'm focused on when it comes down to those two. Let's go ahead and break down 3 of your stocks. I want you guys to share whatever stock you want me to break down. Just share the ticker symbol in the live chat. And all I ask you to do is drop a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're subscribed to the channel, you should be able to partake in that live chat and I'll break it down for you. Webull is China owned. That is correct. The trading platform that I use is, I believe, China owned. But it's US regulated. It's not like those weird offshore brokerages. It's US regulated, FDIC insured, up to $250,000. And it's the 5th link in the description down below if you want to use the same platform that I do. It's the one that I trade with every single day. If you join my LPP team to watch me trade live, it's what you'll see me use. And in my opinion, it's the best trading platform out there. So thank you. But yeah, it's still FDIC covered. That is correct. If it wasn't, I would not be talking about it, nor would I be using it. You think I want to put 250,000 plus in my account and it not be insured? Come on. We're not here trading off of your offshore funded trader accounts that are from the Cayman Islands. No, right? All right, let's see what we're breaking down. Snapchat, that's interesting. I'll break it down just based off of technicals. So this person is asking me to break down Snapchat because of the possible TikTok ban. Snapchat's been along to, like, I don't see that to be the same marketplace. They're both social media applications, but maybe I'm so old now that, like, I never use Snapchat. I love TikTok. And I don't see how those compete with one another. One's to send ghosted messages to one another. The other one's to use to, like, consume content or create content. Maybe it's just me, but I don't see them how they would. It might be a short-term catalyst. You might see a spike up, a quick push because of possible demand. I don't really think it's going to make a difference. And eventually I see TikTok coming back, just my opinion, but we'll see. But nonetheless, Snapchat took a nosedive, right? From lows of $8.26. It's been on a steady recovery. I like this upward staircase pattern, right? Nice rallies, corrections, rallies, corrections, rallies. Do I think it's going to be the best buy here? Probably not. I wouldn't short it, but I can see a correction pull back. And again, I'm someone that's more of a deal hunter. I want it to be a good deal. I want it to make sense. As of right now, at these levels, based off previous highs, previous resistance levels, it wouldn't make sense for me. So it would not be a stock that I would consider buying right now. Now, if it retraces, begins to show signs of a support, early stages of reversal, that's a different story. So thank you for bringing it up. But not something that I would personally care to trade right now. So is Ricky natty, guys? He's ripped. What's up? No, I'm not natty. I'm fueled by MSTR shorts. Just so you know. How'd I start running so quick? How'd I start being so active? I just started shorting MSTR consistently. That's what changed it all for me. All right, I need to stop with all these jokes. SQ. Let's go ahead and do that. SQ looks incredibly overbought on the 4-hour time frame. It's been pretty terrible on how it's been trading. Again, it's all up to you. I like to look at different time frames because it shares different perspectives for me, right? And I can see that this is not something that I want to partake in. Maybe it's oversold enough for you that you want to buy into this dip and you think that it's going to recover. If we look at the way that Square has been trading, it's just been absolutely terrible. Ever since it peaked in 2021, it's been really, really struggling, continuously retracing back to lows of $50 per share. It's at highs of 97. In my opinion, it's not the risk that I'd be willing to take, especially if markets are this overbought already. And if markets do begin to correct themselves, then most likely so will SQ. So we'll see if that retracement follows, especially if Bitcoin begins to retrace. There's uncertainty because I know SQ also has some stake in Bitcoin. So again, just understand how those factors can influence one another. So in my opinion, no, this would not be something that I would care to invest in right now. But again, just because I wouldn't doesn't mean that you need to. That's one thing that I always like to make very clear. There's so many different ways to make money in this market. Let's not pretend like my way is the only way. I'm just explaining to you my why. All right. What else are we looking at? What else? XRP. We don't break down crypto, but even if crypto was available on Webull for this trading app, I would not buy it. Not XRP at $2.50, right? Very different. Okay, CVNA. Well, Tofi, I appreciate you not just even sharing the ticker, but you explained your why and you going out of your way to do that. I like that. So I'm actually really happy that you talked about Carvana because Carvana was actually, SQ is down 5% after. It makes sense because of Bitcoin's performance, but we'll see. Carvana was one of those stocks that peaked during the pandemic. I'm very familiar with Carvana because Carvana is actually based out of Arizona. He's one of the wealthiest people in Arizona. At least at one point he was. Look at that. Look at that freaking reversal. This is called a Hail Mary is what I like to call it, right? From lows of $3, holy smokes, to high 4,000% return. Now I see why you're paying attention to it because obviously it's been so incredibly giving for the past year, right? From 2023, 2024, it's been incredibly bullish, strong retracement going into 2025. So now I'm guessing you're asking, hey, is this where I want to buy the dip on and make money on the recovery? I would like to wait for the 3 stages of reversal. If you're part of my LPP team, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's the rejection phase, the consolidation, and then we wait for confirmation. So I 100% see why you're watching it. I do agree with you. This would be a potential watch for a swing trade because the idea would be that, if I wait for confirmation, this thing from where we're at right now, if it does recover and continues to uptrend, offers 37% of potential upside. That's a possibility, but as of right now, it's still getting rejected. market price action is still bearish and there's no indication of a recovery. So instead of hoping for something to happen, just my 2 cents, wait for it to happen. Have confirmation present itself, and then when it does, then I can choose to take action once there's actual indication of a recovery. So again, that's a big step that a lot of beginners overlook, and I'm not going to just throw you beginners under the bus because I make that mistake all the time as well. I get very excited. I don't want to be that patient, but confirmation is such a key part of trading and investing, is that if you can be that structured, if you can be that disciplined by managing your position size appropriately and waiting for that proper confirmation, you just tend to put yourself in more favorable positions when the action is actually happening and less of when you hope it happens. I'm sure that from your own experience, if you've ever, experienced buying before confirmation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But definitely, I would see why this would be a possible watch. The reason I'm saying it's a watch and not just a natural buy is that, Carvana is up so much that if this is not just a little pullback, but if it just ultimately ends up correcting itself back down, there's huge downside risk. So that is the point of, when you choose to take advantage of trades, that you don't just think about, how much money can I make on the recovery, but what happens if things go south, right? If you do enter, you need to make sure that your risk management is A1, right? Where do you plan to enter? Where do you plan to cut losses? If you never plan where you intend to cut losses, remember, making money in this market is easy. That's the easy part. Learning how to keep it and not give it all back is the challenging part. And it's the same thing for all those crypto bros, right? I love using them as an example. They can make 1,000% and they're still not happy. They still don't lock in profits. They're up 1,000% and they don't care to take it in, right? It means nothing, because if you don't do your part in taking profit at whatever your target is, 5, 10, 15, 20, 1,000%, let's say, you're only one bad trade away from giving it all back. Right? We all know that. Risk management is key in this market. And it's why so many people fail. When people talk about blowing their trading accounts, the only reason they often continue to blow their accounts is because they have no proper risk management, or they're trading incredibly risky stocks that, I don't know. I don't trade options, but I've heard so many people blow their accounts with that. It's just enjoy the process. Why are you in such a rush to try to make it or break it? Right? This is, in my opinion, this is such a fun market to just learn more about. You've always heard about the stock market. Maybe you've heard of people investing in it or trading in it, but you never understood kind of how it worked, how this platform works. You don't need to this doesn't have to be your next big thing, but you can inform yourself. So when you speak to your financial advisor, you can give them more of a sense of direction based off of your understanding of the market, your risk tolerance, and what opportunities are out there to try to make a more, educated decision on where you want to take your trading account, investing account. And I just see it as a win-win. But again, I'm obviously super biased. I love it. As you guys can tell, I just get super excited every single Sunday. I always look forward to Mondays. I don't want to say always. Life often gets in the way, especially now that I'm a dad and, we have to juggle all that good stuff. But nonetheless, I'm very grateful for the position that I'm in. I'm so thankful that a handful of you guys take time out of your Sunday to join me during this Sunday Stock Talk, where we can talk about, what opportunities are set to present themselves this week and how we plan to take advantage of it, right? I like joking around. I like having fun, but most importantly, I like making money, and I like doing it live in front of you guys. So again, if you ever want to tune on in, second link in the description down below will allow you to join LPP for $1.35 a day is what it breaks down to. So $1.35, one-time payment, lifetime access, daily live trading sessions, and you also get access to the full A to Z video lesson library that's designed for complete beginners. I offer nothing else. It's just LPP, right? So second link in the description down below. You can sign up today and watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow. And what it breaks down to is the $1.35 per day if you were to break it down for the year. But you get lifetime access to it. So if you plan to stay with us for 2 years or 3 years, there's no reoccurring payment. It's just one-time payment. So again, second link in the description down below. I hope to see you for tomorrow's live trading session. I hope that earns a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And again, all jokes aside, if I offended you with any of the jokes that I made about MSTR, buckle up, because I'm just getting started. I'm serious about that. I'm having way too much fun with all of my MSTR jokes. I'm keeping it tasteful because I know that, again, it can turn against me very quickly when MSTR pumps up and if I do have an active short. But that's why I manage and mitigate my risk. That's why I manage my position size. And man, I've just been having way too much fun the past few weeks with all of this. And thank you guys for giving me the platform and able to do so. So I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team. Happy